it's just like when you're a farmer, like you pour so much into what you're doing. You want some too? Was very different than kind of what came to light as the situation progressed.
Like a lot of folks, I'm thinking about Dolly Parton today. I had the pleasure, the immense pleasure, the career highlight pleasure of interviewing Dolly Parton almost exactly 3 years ago. She was in town talking about her Imagination Library, which was her self-started charity where she had raised funds out of her own money to pay for hundreds of millions of books for children across the world. It was a way that she could fulfill her father's dream of getting she and her 11 siblings a full education, and she decided to keep that dream alive. She was such a joy to meet with. I've interviewed my share of celebrities who sometimes when you turn a light on, then they are funny or attentive or hit their talking points. And as soon as you turn the light off, they're done. That was not Dolly Parton. She was as nice on camera as she was off camera, which I can't always say about folks. We had about a 20-minute window where we were set to talk with her, but she wanted to talk longer than that. She wanted to talk before we got started. She was asking about my family and my photographer Tom Tedford's family. I was lucky enough to get a picture with Dolly and my wife that day, so it's a special day in my family's history, and I'm thinking of Dolly Parton and all the good she brought to the world. I'll be listening to her tonight for sure.
Do you ever wonder how your luggage is treated after you drop it off at baggage check? Alaska Airlines is apologizing after one passenger caught a baggage handler mishandling luggage severely. Her video is getting a lot of views on Instagram. This is a recent Chicago O'Hare to Seattle flight. You can see the bags checked at the gate get chucked onto a conveyor belt. In fact, some even bounced off onto the ground. The passenger who recorded this said she was livid, especially because the airline begged passengers to check their bags at the gate. She even got the same worker kicking luggage a little bit later. When contacted by King 5, the airline said the video is concerning and it's been in contact with the vendor who employs the baggage handler, but no word that any disciplinary action has been taken.
Bellevue just installed these speed safety cameras and half of them are already vandalized. The city installed these cameras at 4 locations over the weekend of August 14th. Then Sunday, somebody called police to report one of them damaged along 148th Avenue Northeast. Bellevue Transportation tells me the city checked all 8 cameras Monday and found 4 vandalized at 2 locations. Someone smashed and spray painted these cameras at 148th. 2 cameras on Forest Drive are also spray painted. 1 is already back online, but 3 still need repairs. The city says Vero Mobility will cover the cost of repairs under its contract, not taxpayers. The cost is still TBD. Now, these are not flock cameras. Those have been vandalized in cases across the country. These are specifically for speeding, so when somebody's going fast enough, the camera captures the back of a license plate, it takes 2 pictures, and then tickets the driver. Now, because of the speeding threshold, these cameras didn't capture the suspect or suspects. Bellevue was going through a 30-day warning period where if they caught drivers speeding, they would just simply give them a warning. Because of the vandalism, the official start date across all these cameras is now scattered. These cameras are triggered if you drive 8 over the speed limit. A regular violation is $124. Speeding in a school zone, $248.
A man in Monroe, Washington, set his own house on fire after firing a gun inside. The Snohomish County Sheriff's Office says he was in the middle of a behavioral health crisis. You can see the 63-year-old here trying to climb out of a window. Deputies were waiting for him and pulled him to safety. One of those deputies even pointed a weapon at the window. The sheriff's office later learned the man was shooting at threats that were not actually there, putting himself and his neighbors in serious danger. Paramedics took the man to the hospital for treatment.
Come and get it.
Oh, the other end of the stick. That is so cool.
An animal this big and that much power behind them is just shocking. And if you look at their eyes, like they're always analyzing you and checking you out and trying to figure you out. They're a very social animal. They're the only social cat. Only cat lives in groups. So when they look at you, they're analyzing what's going on with your feelings. Like they're really picking up on social cues.
3 times tonight, I've seen the fireworks going off across the street while still seeing Cal Raleigh right up there on that TV, up to bat. Coming into this game, he was batting only .159 with 14 home runs. Now he's got 3 in this game alone. The first time that's happened here in Seattle for a Mariner was Edgar Martinez back in 1999. He is so back.
Right here in Parkland is where roughly 40 to 50 people were gathered as a fight broke out and then someone fired gunshots. This is right in front of the businesses Zen Ramen and Marco's Cantina. We're also right across from Pacific Lutheran University. So far, no one has been arrested. Here's video we shot around 2 a.m. about an hour after everything unfolded. At this point, the crowd had cleared out and detectives were laying down evidence markers. The Pierce County Sheriff's Office said that just before 1 this Wednesday morning, deputies responded to reports of a large fight and gunfire outside that Mexican restaurant Marco's Cantina. When they got here, people were still fighting in the street and more units from Washington State Patrol and Lakewood Police moved in to help secure the area. They found a man with a non-life-threatening gunshot wound and started first aid right away. Even with that large crowd, no one was willing to share who fired that gun or what led up to the shooting. And so there are still a lot of unanswered questions.
A firefighter suffered minor injuries while battling a house fire in Edmonds. I'm Bethany on the King News Desk, and crews responded to a house fire near Lake Ballinger just before 3 p.m., where 2 people inside were able to safely escape before firefighters arrived on scene. Crews found heavy flames spreading into the attic and threatening a neighboring home. Firefighters contained the fire in about 15 minutes, stopping the flames just as they reached the neighbor's fence. No residents were hurt, but 3 people were displaced and are receiving help from Red Cross and Support 7. The cause is still under investigation.
Oregon investigators say they still don't know a motive in a homicide that left 5 people and several animals dead. They were found Saturday morning at a home near Forest Grove, about 30 miles west of Portland. Detectives say the 5 victims were all found in or near the driveway of the home with gunshot wounds, and they had been set on fire. Investigators say 36-year-old Benjamin Parker was the partner of one of the victims. He was found dead the next day from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in a truck in Enumclaw, Washington. Investigators say before he died, he had a lengthy call with his mom.
His mother shared that during the phone call he made to her on Saturday night, her son confessed to this crime. He said he had been planning this for a while and that it was premeditated.
It's still unclear if he had a connection to Enumclaw. Investigators say he told his mom he drove until he ran out of gas.
The Edmonds Theater has a new owner. Edmonds resident, travel writer, and TV host Rick Steves has purchased the 100-year-old theater. Steves says he bought the property to make sure it stays in the community. This isn't the first time he's made an investment in his hometown. Earlier this year, he helped open the Lynnwood Neighborhood Center, and last year he stepped in to save a Snohomish County Hygiene Center.
NFL owners unanimously voted to approve the sale of the Seahawks to Vinod Khosla for the record price of $9.6 billion. Khosla will have to relinquish his stake in the 49ers as part of his agreement to buy the Seahawks. The team won't officially change hands until the transaction closes, which could happen before the Seahawks open the season 2 weeks from today.
Okay, Potterheads, you know the Harry Potter story, but you've never seen it quite like this. Because Harry Potter and the Cursed Child has landed at Seattle's Paramount Theater, and this isn't a movie. There's no CGI, no camera tricks. Now, it's not a musical, but it's more than a play. I'm told there's some movie magic that unfolds live on stage that you just have to see to believe. And the story picks up 19 years after Harry defeated Voldemort. Harry's a dad now, and his son, Albus, is heading off to Hogwarts, where he has an unlikely friendship with Scorpius Malfoy. Yes, Draco Malfoy's kid. Things get complicated and magical and amazing, and I'm told you have to see it to believe it. And that comes directly from the stars of the show who told me all about it here at the Paramount Theater. No spoilers, because I'm told this is filled with gasps from the audience. Check out Harry Potter and the Cursed Child in Seattle through September 12th.
Why are some of the most dangerous cardiovascular symptoms ones that we don't see or choose to ignore?
This is why cardiovascular conditions are the biggest killers, because we don't feel them until it's unfortunately too late. High blood pressure doesn't necessarily hurt. High cholesterol you can't feel. And high blood pressure, for all our viewers, the biggest risk factor for death and disability across the world and in the United States. And here's why. Very few people get screened for them because it's asymptomatic until, again, it's too late, until you end up in a hospital with a stroke or a heart attack. And that's what's really hard here.
One of my favorite trainers here, Jessie Jones, or better known to her followers as Dog Fit.
So 20 minutes, 25 minutes if my baby gives me enough time to get it done. But it's pretty much 5 exercises, 3 to 4 rounds of work, movements that you're doing multiple muscle groups. So you're just maximizing as much as you can with a short amount of time. Stepping straight back, hold, and then curl. Chest up, yep, and back up. So a little bit more than just a basic lunge, a little bit more than just a basic bicep curl. Getting into some core and triceps, you're going to tuck your pelvis, weights overhead, arms as straight as you can hold them. You're going to march slow, focus on your balance. Yes, marching on each and then dropping those weights behind your head. So a lot of people that are doing my program are moms, but you don't have to be a mom. You could be really busy with work. You could be coming back from being sick, or you just have limited amount of time. You want to show up for yourself. It's the perfect program to do that. These kind of moves are great for really anyone and everyone at all fitness levels.
A 24-year-old TikToker is going viral for being a so-called loneliness influencer. This is Lena. She claims to have no friends and no interest in dating. Okay, girl. Her page takes you through her day, and it looks pretty peaceful, but what do we think about this? Apparently, this is a rising type of social media creator. Alyssa, you post content about life as a single woman in Seattle. What's your take on this?
I get it, but I like on my page, I promote that being alone doesn't equal loneliness. But I do understand like feeling lonely as an influencer. If we're talking about it in that context, it can be a very lonely job. You're filming, you're editing, you're talking to a camera, to a screen, and you know, then you're, at least for me, I do my events, and then at the end, all the vendors leave, the music's cut off, and I go home to my, you know, really quiet apartment. So that can feel really lonely. I think it just depends on the perspective and the lens that you're looking through.
It's an interesting perspective. I thrive off of human connection and interaction.
Totally.
It really builds me in my energy, but also seeing on the outside lens of it of just being lonely per se, or you know, to yourself, can just really build yourself up in your own terms. I don't mind it.
I honestly get energy sometimes being alone, and it like fills my cup a little bit.
Me too.
And people always say like, well, you're such an extrovert. Also, like, it really fills my cup to just sit and rot on the couch. So,
the outgoing introvert.
The dream for Alderton General is to be a beautiful new grocery store. And the cool part about it is this was built as a grocery store back in the late 1800s by Orson Annis, and we're bringing that same thing back to the community. Not just energy drinks and lottery tickets. We want roasted chickens and supplies, and we want to support the farms from all the neighboring communities, things like rhubarb and berries from Spooner and Sidhu. I mean, we are so locked in on this vision. Imagine in here, if you will, 12-foot high ceilings and marble and lots of natural light and specialty items. I mean, cabinets with tin sardines and beautiful pasta, olive oil, and your supplies, and we're not going to be exorbitantly priced. I live on a budget. I know people in this community live on a budget, so we won't be price gouging. So that's why we'll be selling things like beer and wine to cover the margin for the beautiful food. We'll have a sourdough program. We want to be a staple for people where, my husband wrote it so beautifully, where we are elegant but not precious, and you can come as you are.
A late-night argument inside this Shell gas station in Lynnwood ends in murder. That's the case the state is making. Giovanni Rosas Viva's defense is self-defense. We're not showing his face as ordered by the court.
When my client shot
The decedent, he called 911. He surrendered to police. He voluntarily provided his gun that he lawfully was allowed to carry.
Court documents describe a confrontation between 24-year-old Rosas Vivas and two men. Rosas Vivas claims the men in the store began threatening him, saying, "You're not going to go home tonight." Investigators say surveillance video from the gas station shows that Rosas Vivas revealed a weapon and said, "If anything happens, I've got my license and everything." The state alleges Rosas Vivas then opened fire, shooting and killing one of the men. Officers arrived minutes after the shooting, found the victim behind the gas station, and recovered multiple guns at the scene, including one taken from Rosas Vivas. The victim's mother advocating for a high bail, making it clear she believes her son was murdered.
My son didn't have a criminal record either. He'd never been arrested. He has ties to the community the same way. But I don't ever get to see him again. I'll never see his face.
Black Mondo grass delivers with its deep, dark color and unique texture. And while it can be a bit pricey to buy, Cisco says it's easy to divide once it's established.
I love this stuff. I have a lot of it in my garden. It is so gorgeous because it just adds, everything goes with black. It's really easy to grow. You can't fail with this thing.
Well,
but just make sure it gets a little sunshine, you know, it doesn't want too much shade. But this, you could use this, I think you might be able to use this, a hori knife. You might be able to use that to do this.
Okay. Are you going to show me a little how to do it, or are you going to tell me?
Once you know where you want to do it, so you could kind of see that this is a division right there.
Yeah, it does. That looks easy enough.
And this has got like a saw edge on it.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, jeez. You must just be working out every single day out in your garden.
But we have these flexible learning spaces, and I don't know if you've had a chance to sit on this, but try out one of those seats. It's like it's not quite flat on the bottom, so it's a way to develop your core strength. And if you're somebody who maybe needs to move around a little bit more, that's a great way to do some learning and not feel stuck in an upright chair. But every classroom in our new building has this. So this is great for small group work, you know, targeted kind of work. The furniture in here is all modular, and so it just works so well. Like I happen to have a big library, fourth graders, we do a lot of reading in here, so it's lovely to be able to feature this. Kids can find and borrow a book, and I think I have something for every interest that's out there. I'm hoping I do.
So what should we be paying attention to as we age?
Your numbers, your blood pressure, your heart rate. If you have diabetes or a family history of diabetes, what's your morning blood sugar, your fasting blood sugar? Have a sense of that at least annually. Get that screened with your primary care provider. Equally important, if not more importantly, know changes to your functional status. If doing something like walking up the stairs in your home or walking up a hill on your morning walk was previously okay, and now you're getting winded. Now you're not able to do your routine physical activity the way you used to. Those changes in your functional status, pay attention to that. Your body is telling you something. It's telling you that something is wrong, and that's what it can be a sign of something that's wrong as you're aging.
An Elma police officer just got a letter of commendation for his work on this overpass here in Grace Harbor County back in June. There was a young man who had recently broken up with a girlfriend who was threatening to jump off this overpass onto Highway 12 below us here. Sergeant Parson is been in law enforcement for about a decade, and part of that experience and training has been to de-escalate situations like that. So he was able to, according to the sergeant, calmly talk the man out of what he was threatening to do here on the bridge. He said the man turned out to be very grateful, and he ended their interaction with a hug back in June. This is a good example of help that is out there in all sorts of forms. There's a 988 hotline for folks who may be in crisis, but also local police are trained to deal with these kinds of situations.
Well, today I'm taking you to a place that is kind of in my neighborhood, at least my work neighborhood.
Where are we today?
Hooverville Bar.
What can you tell me about this bar?
Well, we've been here for 20 years. It's the kind of place where everyone loves to get together, congregate, and have a good time. We are open 2 p.m. to 1 a.m. on any given day. We are always open 2 hours before every day game, 8 a.m. for Seahawks. We've got pinball, we've got skee ball, we've got darts, we've got pool. My pool game's terrible. I thought when we got these I was gonna play every day and be a master, but honestly, I think I've played twice. We have a pretty good beer selection. There's 22 beers on tap. Delicious. So we always have $4 cans, Coors, Hams, Rainier. We pour generously.
You guys have a pretty big selection of drinks.
Well, we have a ton of whiskey. So this is one of my favorite ones, Watch Post from Westland. But honestly, tequila seems to be taking over.
All right, hit me up with that special drink. What drink are you gonna do today for us?
All the kids love a green tea shot. 2 parts Jameson, 1 part peach schnapps, splash of sour.
Cheers to the green tea shot.
Cheers, y'all.
I love the 5-star dive bar because I think we are a 5-star dive bar.